Evcol.
Evcol Entertainment presents Bram Stoker's Dracula, Episode 1.
Iubirea vieții mele, totul pentru tine. Dușmanii pe care i-am ucis, pământul pe care calc, îmbibat cu sângele celor care mi-au amenințat țara, poporul. Nimic nu mai contează acum. Ești departe. Te-au luat de lângă mine. Lași care nu au avut curajul să mă înfrunte cu demnitate. Aș fi luptat cu ei până la capăt, ca să te protejezi de mărșăvia lor. Iubirea vieții mele. Blestemat să fie cu toții. Să le beau sângele până la ultima picătură. O să-i stârpesc de pe fața pământului. O să le distrug iubirile, familiile și chiar Dumnezeilor, până mă simt răzbunat. Love of my life. Everything for you. The enemies I have killed. The soil upon which I stand, soaked by the blood of those who threaten my country, my people. Nothing really matters now. You're gone. They took you away from me. Cowards who didn't have the courage to face me with dignity. I would have fought with them until the very end, so that I could protect you from their injustice. Love of my life. I curse them, all of them. I will drink their blood to the last drop, until all cease to walk this earth. I will destroy their loves, their family, even their gods, until my vengeance is requited. I will leave no stone unturned, no homestead standing. God will weep at their helplessness. I declare war on their gods, and I disown my God. They'll pay threefold right now. This I swear on what is left of my soul. Now I am God.
Harker, how are you?
Well, thank you, Mr. Morford.
Good, very good. Now, I've heard exceptional things about you, and I don't see why a smart young fellow like yourself shouldn't become a junior partner very quickly. I know my colleagues feel the same way.
Why, thank you, Mr. Morford. I will endeavour to do my very best.
Yes, I've little doubt of that. Now, during your time with us, have you come across our Mr. Renfield?
I don't believe I had the pleasure. His name is familiar to me, but he seems to have been away.
Quite, yes. Well, Mr. Renfield has been in Europe handling a matter that required his full attention. Now, this matter remains unresolved, and I believe you are absolutely the right person to continue where he left off.
Certainly, it would be an honour, if you feel I am suited and ready for the challenge.
Well, suited you are, and only you can decide whether you're up for the challenge, as you say. If you were able to bring the matter to a successful conclusion, then I'm sure my partners would agree with me when I say it will secure your position with us.
Then I will make it my priority.
You will, of course, have to travel to Europe for a brief spell, to Transylvania to be precise. I'm aware of your engagement to Miss Murray. I hope that arrangement will not hinder your task.
Wilhelmina understands my commitment to my career, to this firm, and the need for me to travel from time to time.
Good. Now, here are the papers concerning this matter. But to put you in the picture, our client is one Count Dracula. His castle is in the midst of the Carpathian Mountains. There are no maps or documentation regarding the exact locality of Castle Dracula, but looking through Mr. Renfield's notes, it appears to be close to Biarritz. The Count has a desire to purchase property here in England, and has tasked this firm with making that happen. Mr. Renfield was making great progress, but then, well, yes.
May I ask what happened to him? Is there something I should know before meeting with the Count?
Oh, goodness, no. This has nothing to do with the Count, of that I can assure you. It's just that, well, how can one put this delicately? Mr. Renfield simply lost his mind.
That is tragic to hear.
Indeed, regrettable, but I'm afraid there's very little that we can do for the man. We've done all we can.
And may I be permitted to ask when I shall be leaving for Castle Dracula?
On the morning tide. As mentioned, the Count is an important client, and we would all like to see this matter brought to a swift and satisfying conclusion. I trust you're able to leave tomorrow.
Indeed. I shall leave presently and pack my personal items.
Very good. Now, Harker, I trust you with this business. Do not on any account let me down.
Your trust is well placed, Mr. Morford.
Oh, Jonathan, do you really have to leave? It seems so far away. There is no map of this place. How will you know where to go?
My dear Mina, you know what my work means to me. To us. I cannot support you on the wage of a junior solicitor. The Count has made all of the preparations and assures me I will not have to concern myself with anything other than the business at hand. My wonderful Mina, let me look at you and have your beauty captured in my mind for all the days and nights that we are apart.
And how long will you be away?
Mr. Morford seems to think it will take no longer than 2 weeks, at the very most. And Mr. Renfield has taken care of all of the preliminaries. It is a simple matter of signatures. And then I will race home to you, my darling.
And why is this Mr. Renfield not completing the business himself? I sense you are keeping things from me.
Mr. Renfield has taken ill and is not well enough to complete the task at hand. The firm have entrusted me to complete the transaction. For me, it's a chance to prove myself. For us.
Oh, I know, Jonathan, but still. I have this feeling of foreboding. Please don't ask me why. I find myself not able to explain these concerns more fully.
There truly is nothing to worry about. I shall count the moments until we can be together again.
Promise that you'll write? You know how I love your letters, so.
Every day. It's time for me to leave. My train. I depart on the morning tide. I should be with the Count in less than 3 days.
I love you, Jonathan.
And I love you. I will keep this picture of you close to my heart at all times.
The Englishman?
Yes, Jonathan Harker.
Welcome to the Golden Crown Hotel. I have a letter for you.
Thank you,
Helga.
Thank you, Helga.
My friend, welcome to the Carpathians. I am anxiously expecting you. Sleep well tonight. At 3 tomorrow, the diligence will start for Bukovina. A place on it is kept for you. At the Borgo Pass, my carriage will await you and will bring you to me. I trust that your journey from London has been a happy one, and that you will enjoy your stay in my beautiful land. Your friend, Vlad Dracula.
Arka, must you go to that place?
Castle Dracula?
It is a place filled with evil. Oh, Herr, please reconsider.
But I must go. On important business.
Do you know what day it is?
The 4th of May?
It is the eve of St. George's Day. Do you not know that tonight, when the clock strikes midnight, all the evil things in the world will have full sway? Do you know where you are going and what you are going to?
Just stories, I'm sure. But as I said, there's business to be done, and I cannot allow anything to interfere with it.
For your mother's sake, be sure to keep this cross with you at all times.
Please,
This is not just an old woman's fear, Englishman. There are many ghostly traditions of this place. Be on your guard at all times. You will be in my prayers.
arrived at Borgo Pass. There's no carriage here. The hare is not expected after all. He will now come on to Bukovina and return tomorrow or the next day. Better the next day.
Maybe we could just wait here for a little while? If, of course, you can remain with me. I'm not familiar with this place, and I should hate to...
Sorry, sir, you'll not catch me waiting here a moment longer than I have to.
Ah, no need after all, driver. If you'll hand me my bag, I bid you goodbye and a safe journey.
You are early tonight, my friend.
The English hare was in a hurry.
That is why, I suppose, you wished him to go on to Bukovina. You cannot deceive me, my friend. I know too much. And my horses are swift.
Are you sure you will not reconsider?
The night is chill, mynheer. And my master the Count bade me take all care of you. There is a flask of plum brandy underneath the seat, if you should require it.
Welcome to my house. Enter freely and of your own will. Go safely and leave something of the happiness you bring.
Count Dracula?
I am Dracula, and I bid you welcome, Mr. Harker. Come in. The night air is chill, and you must need to eat and rest. It is late, and my people are not available, so let me see to your comfort myself. You will need, after your journey, to refresh yourself. I trust you will find all you wish. When you're ready, return, and you will find your supper prepared. I pray you, be seated and sup how you please. You will, I trust, excuse me that I do not join you, but I have dined already.
Mr. Morford asked me to hand you this personally upon my arrival.
The second paragraph. Read it.
I must regret that an attack of gout, from which malady I am a constant sufferer, forbids absolutely any travelling on my part for some time to come. But I am happy to say I can send a sufficient substitute, one in whom I have every possible confidence. He is a young man, full of energy and talent in his own way, and of a very faithful disposition. He is discreet and silent. He shall be ready to attend on you when you will during his stay, and shall take your instruction in all matters. The crates you asked to be shipped have arrived safely. Ronald Morford.
Listen to them. The children of the night. What music they make. Ah, sir! You dwellers in the city cannot enter into the feelings of the hunter. But you must be tired. Tomorrow you shall sleep as late as you will. I must be away till the afternoon, so sleep well and dream well.
Evcol Entertainment presents Bram Stoker's Dracula. Episode 2.
My dearest Lucy, forgive my long delay in writing. The life of an assistant schoolmistress is sometimes trying. I am longing to be with you, and by the sea. I have been working very hard lately, and I have been practicing shorthand very assiduously. When Jonathan and I are married, I shall be able to be useful to him, and if I can stenograph well enough, I can take down what he wants to say in this way, and write it out for him on the typewriter. He and I sometimes write letters in shorthand, and he is keeping a stenographic journal of his travels abroad. When I am with you, I shall keep a diary in the same way. I may show it to Jonathan someday, if there is in it anything worth sharing, but it is really an exercise book. I shall try to do what I see lady journalists do, interviewing and writing descriptions and trying to remember conversations. Hopefully Jonathan will be returning in about a week. It must be so nice to see strange countries. I wonder if Jonathan and I, shall ever see them together. Goodbye. Your loving, Mina.
Count? Count Dracula? It's so dark in here. I wonder if the Count can read any of these books in this light.
I find myself blessed with remarkable eyesight, though the brightness of the daylight does cause irritation.
I apologize for my rudeness.
I am glad you found your way in here, for I am sure there is much that will interest you. These companions have been good friends to me, and for some years past, ever since I had the idea of going to London. Through them I have come to know your great England, and to know her is to love her. I long to go through the crowded streets of your mighty London, to be in the midst of the whirl and rush of humanity, to share its life, its change, its death, and all that makes it what it is. But alas, as yet, I only know your tongue through books. To you, my friend, I look that I know it to speak.
But Count, you know and speak English so thoroughly.
I know that, did I move and speak in your London, none there are who would not know me for a stranger. That is not enough for me. Here I am noble, I am boyer. The common people know me and I am master. But a stranger in a strange land, he is no one. Men know him not, and to know not is to care not for. You shall, I trust, rest here with me a while, so that by our talking I may learn the English intonation. And I would that you tell me when I make error, even of the smallest, in my speaking.
As you wish. May I come and select books from the library to read? You have such a fine collection.
Certainly. You may go anywhere you wish in this castle, except where the doors are locked, where, of course, you will not wish to go. There is reason that all things are as they are, and did you see with my eyes and know with my knowledge, you would perhaps better understand. We are in Transylvania, and Transylvania is not England. Our ways are not your ways, and there shall be to you many strange things. Please do ask your question. It is the only way we are to get to know each other better.
The innkeeper's wife, Helga, she seemed most unsettled that I was to visit this place. She mentioned ghostly traditions and the blue light I saw.
It is commonly believed that on a certain night of the year, last night, when all evil spirits are supposed to have unchecked sway, a blue flame is seen over any place where treasure has been concealed. That treasure has been hidden in the region through which you came last night. There can be but little doubt, for it was the ground fought over the centuries by the Wallachian, the Saxon, and the Turk. There is hardly a foot of soil in this entire region that has not been enriched by the blood of men, patriots or invaders. When the invader was triumphant, he found but little, for whatever there was had been sheltered in the friendly soil.
But how can it have remained so long undiscovered, when there is a sure index to it if men will but take the trouble to look?
Because your peasant is at heart a coward and a fool. Those flames only appear on one night, and on that night, no man of this land will, if he can help it, stir without his doors. And dear sir, even if he did, he would not know what to do. Even you would not, I dare be sworn, be able to find this place again.
There you are right. I know no more than the dead where even to look for them.
Come. Tell me of the house which you have procured for me.
Credit really does need to be given to Mr. Renfield, as he was the one who prepared much of this transaction.
I heard about his unfortunate circumstance. Is there an improvement?
Mr. Renfield...
You seem to have dropped a picture. And a journal. And who, may I ask, is this?
She's my fiancée, Mina. We are to be married as soon as I return. With regard to Mr. Renfield, alas, there is no improvement. Though he is with the best people possible, so I am told. We all live in the hope that he will make a speedy recovery.
Indeed. Your fiancé is such a treasure as to make any man's heart sing. I envy you. And this journal?
I find it eases my mind to write about the day's proceedings. It keeps me alert and focused. And Mina.
I see. Would you like some wine? Oh, but of course you do. Please continue.
At Purfleet, Mr. Renfield came across just such a place as was seen to be required. It is surrounded by a high wall of ancient structure built with heavy stones. The gates are of a heavy old oak and iron.
I am keen to see this place. The wine, taste it, my friend. It's special.
The estate is called Carfax, no doubt a corruption of the old Catrafas. It contains in all some 20 acres, quite surrounded by the solid stone wall, as mentioned. The house is very large and dates to medieval times. It looks like part of a keep with only a few windows and is close to an old chapel or church. Although he could not enter it, as he had not the key to the door leading to it from the house, but he did take with his camera views of it from various points. There is but only one house close by, which has been formed into a private lunatic asylum. It's not, however, visible from the grounds. In fact, the asylum is the very place that Mr. Renfield currently resides.
I am glad that it is old and big. I myself am of an old family, and to live in a new house would kill me. A house cannot be made habitable in a day, and after all, how few days go to make up a century? I rejoice also that there is a chapel of all times. We Transylvanian nobles love not to think that our bones may lie amongst the common dead. I am no longer young, and my heart, through weary years of mourning over the dead, is not attuned to mirth. Moreover, the walls of my castle are broken, the shadows are many, and the wind breathes cold through the broken battlements and casements. I love the shade and the shadow, and would be alone with my thoughts when I may. Why? There is the morning again. You must make your conversation regarding my dear new country of England less interesting, so that I may not forget how time flies by us. Though I insist you tell me more of your betrothed. Such a fine woman is indeed worthy of much discussion.
My dearest Mina, what began as a promising enterprise has so very soon crumbled around me. I feel the Count has made me a prisoner. My host and I only meet at eventide and work through the night until dawn. He is a strange man. There is a coldness about him, and he moves from room to room like a restless demon. It has been 4 weeks since I arrived at Castle Dracula, but for a transaction such as this, only 2-3 days at most should be set aside to complete. My host seems to procrastinate, almost as if he's purposefully keeping me here. He asks many questions regarding you, which I'm beginning to feel uncomfortable about. I speak to you out loud, as I fear I would go mad if I did not hear the sound of a human voice. Castle Dracula has its own language, a frightening yet sad voice that seems to be lost in time. All the doors and windows are locked. The Count implies there are others, staff residing in the place, but thus far I have seen only him. Upon sensing that I was prisoner here, a sort of wild feeling came over me. I rushed up and down the stairs, trying every door and peering out of every window I could find. All were locked and barred. When I look back after a few hours, I think I must have been mad for the time, for I behaved much as a rat does in a trap. When, however, the conviction had come to me that I was helpless, I sat down quietly. Of one thing only I am certain, that there is no use making my ideas known to the Count. He knows well that I am imprisoned, and doubtless has his own motives for it. So far as I can see, my only plan will be to keep my knowledge and my fears to myself, and my eyes open. I am, I know, either being deceived by my own fears, or else I am in desperate straits.
Dr. Seward, your journal. You left it on the ward.
Ah, thank you, nurse. I seem to be terribly preoccupied at the moment with my latest patient. I'm becoming increasingly forgetful. Can you ask 2 male nurses to join me? I'm to visit Mr. Renfield shortly, and as we have little knowledge of where his mind will take him today, I suggest we proceed with every caution.
Certainly, Doctor. I will see to it right away.
The case of Renfield grows even more interesting. For the first week, he was perpetually violent. Then, one night, just as the moon rose, he grew quiet and kept murmuring to himself, "Now I can wait. Now I can wait." Once today, he looked at me with inquisitive eyes, which suddenly softened, and he smiled what I believed to be a genuine smile. It was soothing, somehow, to the feelings, to find myself dissociated even in the mind of this poor madman from the others. But all the same, I do not follow his thought. Am I to take it that I have anything in common with him, so that we are, as it were, to stand together? Or has he to gain from me some good so stupendous that my well-being is needful to him? Tonight he will not speak. Even the offer of a kitten or even a full-grown cat will not tempt him. After a while I left him. The attendant tells me that he was quiet until just before dawn, and then he began to get uneasy and at length violent, until at last he fell into a paroxysm which exhausted him so that he swooned into a sort of coma.
Evcol Entertainment presents Bram Stoker's Dracula. Episode 3.
Why are there no mirrors in this place? It's useful that I brought a pocket one with me. It makes shaving extremely difficult.
Good evening.
Ow! How bad is the cut? What? The Count? There's no reflection.
Take care how you cut yourself. It is more dangerous than you think in this country. And this is the wretched thing that has done the mischief. It is a foul bauble of man's vanity. Away with it! You can understand now why I choose not to have mirrors in my home. I should like that you join me downstairs, so we may continue with our talks of England and its people. I'm finding them fascinating.
As you wish, Count. I will be down presently. But now how am I going to shave? Hello? Is anyone there? Listen, enough of these games. Who are you? What do you want?
Do not fear to sleep in any place where he is not. Place the crucifix over the head of your bed. Your rest may be freer from dreams.
Who are you? Am I going out of my mind? I am beginning to feel this nocturnal existence tell on me. I start at my own shadow. I'm full of all sorts of horrible imaginings.
Look out of the window, Jonathan Harker. Look out over the beautiful expanse, bathed in the soft yellow moonlight till it is almost as light as day. In the soft light, the distant hills become melted, and the shadows in the valleys and gorges of velvety blackness. The mere beauty will cheer you. There suddenly becomes peace and comfort in every breath you draw. Now glance to the Count's bedroom windows. Tell me what you see.
Why? Why should I do as you ask?
Because your very life may depend upon it. Look, tell me what you see.
I cannot see anything.
Look harder.
Wait, there's something moving. Where the Count's own room looks out. It cannot be so.
What did you see, Jonathan?
The Count's head. Coming out of the window. I cannot see his face, but I know it's him. Oh, what? His whole body is immersed and he's crawling down the castle wall. He's face down, with his cloak spread around him like wings. This must surely be madness on my part. Tiredness, at least. My eyes surely deceived me. A trick of the moonlight, maybe, else some weird effect of shadow. I saw his fingers and toes grasp at the corners of the stones, and using every projection and inequality move downwards with considerable speed. What manner of man is this? Or what manner of creature is this in semblance of man? I feel the dread of this place overpowering me. I'm trapped in fear. Awful fear, and there is no escape for me. I am encompassed about with terrors that I dare not think of.
Jonathan Harker, You must leave this place as soon as you are able. Nothing good will come of you remaining here. I will be with you, watching.
Wait! Don't leave me! Keep it together, man. At least for Mina's sake.
Lucy. Oh, Lucy, let me look at you. Why, you look more beautiful than ever. This sea air clearly agrees with you.
Oh, Mina, how I have missed you.
And I you. I've been so looking forward to this visit. Especially as Jonathan is away on business.
Well, we must make sure that your time here is spent filled with glorious things to do. Come, let us walk along the cliff top. The porters will bring your bags to the house. Don't have a worry, Mina. These are trustworthy gentlemen.
You're sure?
Now, let us walk, gossip, and then have tea at the house. Mrs. Evans has prepared your room, just as you like it.
So very kind. She didn't need to go to all that trouble.
News from Jonathan?
Not a word. He promised he would write every night. But I've not had a single piece of correspondence. It really isn't like him at all. I'm convincing myself that there is something very wrong. No matter what I do to try and shake it, the very same feeling comes back to haunt me. Let us talk of happy things. Tell me of your suitors. This is news I have been longing to hear.
My dear, it never rains, but it pours. How true the old proverbs are. Here am I, who shall be 20 in September, and yet I never had a proposal till today. And today, I have had 3 in one day. Isn't it awful? I feel truly sorry for 2 of the poor fellows. I must tell you about them, but you must keep it a secret. From everyone. Except, of course, Jonathan.
Oh, Lucy, I don't believe I have ever seen you so light-headed.
Oh, you must allow me these moments of enjoyment, Mina.
Then pray tell, proceed. Otherwise we shall be stood here until the sun sets.
Number 1 came just before lunch. I told you of him. Dr. John Seward, the lunatic asylum man, with the strong jaw and the good forehead. He was very cool outwardly, but was nervous all the same. He had evidently been schooling himself as to what he would say and had memorised them, but he almost managed to sit down on his silk hat, which men don't generally do when they're at ease. He spoke to me, Mina, very straightforwardly. He told me how dear I was to him, though he had known me so little, and what his life would be with me to help and cheer him.
And what was your response? I do hope you were kind. You know how sensitive men can be at times.
I tried my very hardest to be comforting. He asked if I could love him in time, but alas, I had to shake my head and say, no. Oh, I started to cry as I felt so badly for him. He then stood and called himself a brute for upsetting me so, but he was strong and told me that if I ever wanted a friend, I must count on him as one of my best.
Well, that is something, at least. He sounds like a strong and decent fellow, and someone who would make an excellent friend.
Oh, Mina, I am so pleased you think that way, as those were my thoughts also. Number 2 came after lunch, on the very same day of all things. He is such a nice fellow. An American, from Texas. And he looks so young for someone that has been to so many places and has had such adventures. Well, Mr. Morris sat down beside me and looked as happy as he could, but I could see all the same that he was very nervous. He took my hand in his and said ever so sweetly, "Miss Lucy, I know I ain't good enough to regulate the fixings of your little shoes. Won't you just hitch up alongside of me and let us go down the long road together?" Oh, he did look so good-humoured and so jolly that it didn't seem half so hard as it did to refuse poor Dr. Seward. Before I could say another word, he began pouring out a perfect torrent of love-making, laying his very heart and soul at my feet. I suppose he saw something in my face which checked him, for he suddenly stopped, and said with a sort of manly fervour that could I have loved him if I had been free.
And what did you say to that?
Yes, there is someone I love, though he has not yet told me he even loves me. I was right to speak to him so frankly, for quite to like him into his face. That's my brave girl. It's better being late for a chance of winning you than being in time for any other girl in the world. And then he took his leave to travel back to London on urgent business, but not before placing a delicate kiss on my cheek.
And should I ask about number 3?
Arthur. Ah, Arthur! It took an age for him to ask. I gave him every opportunity, but he seemed to run from me like a scared rabbit when he sensed that I was seeking a sign from him.
Oh, Lucy, you must not push, though.
A voice of reason, Mina. That is what you are. Now, let us be on our way.
I sense you have more questions. You should never fear speaking what your mind asks. Knowledge is a powerful thing.
I didn't want to seem impertinent.
Your English manners, reserve. It is fascinating for someone like myself to observe. It's unlike anything I'm used to. Tell me, are all you English gentlemen so restrained?
In polite society there are, well, certain etiquettes that should be observed.
And for me? Do you think someone like me would be welcomed into your polite society?
You're a count. You are titled, have money, every door will be open to you.
I'm not so sure, my English friend. When you have lived as long as I, you begin to see the true nature, value of matters and people. I find it an increasingly difficult world to live in.
My question.
But of course, ask whatever you wish.
If you feel, as you say, that this is an increasingly difficult world to live in, then why move to somewhere such as London? A thriving metropolis of many, many people. Surely it would be wiser to remain here.
I feel the need to walk among people, to see new faces, smell new scents, look deeply into the eyes of men and women and read their every thought. It has been an age since I truly left this castle, and I feel the time has come for a change. And you, Mr. Jonathan Harker, have been a tremendous source of information for me, and for that I am eternally grateful.
You are most welcome. Count, I have been here now for 5 weeks or more. As we have finalised the paperwork for your property purchase, I would ask that I may take my leave of your hospitality and return to England. I wouldn't want to outstay my welcome, and I'm sure my employer will be wondering what news I have and when I shall return to continue with my many duties there.
I took the liberty of writing to your employer this very day, asking his permission for you to remain with me 1 month longer. There are certain other aspects of the legalities that I would like to discuss with you, and I feel these are better done face to face rather than through lengthy written correspondence. I hope you do not object to my asking this of you.
Surely, if that is your wish. But is there need for it to be so long?
I desire it much. Nay, I will take no refusal. When your master, employer, or what you will, engaged that someone should come on his behalf, it was understood that my needs only were to be consulted. I have not stinted, is it not so? Please sit. I need to ask you a question. Is it acceptable for a man in England might have, say, 2 solicitors or more?
He may have a dozen if he wished, but it would not be wise to have more than 1 solicitor engaged in any one transaction, as only one could act at any one time, and to change that would be certain to mitigate his interest.
I see. Would there be any practical difficulty in having one man to attend, say, to banking and another to look after shipping, in case local help were needed in a place far from the home of the banking solicitor? Now suppose I, who have much of affairs, wish to ship goods, say, to Newcastle, or to Durham, or to Harwich, or Dover. Might it not be easier to assign one in the ports?
It would be most easy. We solicitors have a system of agency, one acting for the other, so that local work could be done locally on instruction from any solicitor, that the client, simply placing himself in the hands of one man, could have his wishes carried out for him without any further trouble.
But I could be at liberty to direct myself, is it not so?
Of course. Such is often done by men of business, who do not like their affairs to be known by any one person.
Tell me, have you written to our friend, Mr. Ronald Morfoot, or to any other?
I have not yet had the opportunity of sending letters to anybody.
Then write now, my young friend. I pray you, my good young friend, that you will not discourse of things other than business in your letters. It will doubtless please your friends to know that you are well, and that you look forward to getting home to them. Is it not so? I trust you will forgive me, but I have much work to do in private this evening. You will, I hope, find all things as you wish. Let me advise you, my dear young friend, nay, let me warn you with all seriousness, that should you leave these rooms, you will not by any chance go to sleep in any other part of the castle. It is old and has many memories, and there are bad dreams for those who sleep unwisely. Be warned, should sleep now or ever overcome you, then haste to your own chamber or to these rooms, for your rest will then be safe. But if you be not careful in this respect, then who knows what may happen.
Evcol Entertainment presents Bram Stoker's Dracula, Episode 4.
Oh, Lucy. I apologize for my distant behavior. I'm just so worried. There was again no letter for me from Jonathan. I hope with all my heart that everything is well with him.
I'm sure it is. Jonathan is a good man. He will be thinking of you constantly while he is away. His work takes up a great deal of time.
But it has been so many weeks now. And not a single letter. A note, even. It's almost as if he has vanished from the face of the earth. Oh, Lucy, you don't think that his love for me has waned?
Oh, goodness, no. No two people have I seen more in love. Have faith. His task was an important one. It seems cold this evening. Let us make our way home and remain by the fire.
You are a good and dear friend, Lucy. I simply do not know what I would do without you.
The case of Renfield grows more interesting the more I get to understand the man. He has certain qualities very largely developed: selfishness, secrecy, and purpose. I wish I could get at what is the object of the latter. He seems to have some settled scheme of his own, but what it is I do not yet know. His redeeming quality is a love of animals, though, indeed, he has such curious turns in it that I sometimes imagine he is only abnormally cruel. Mr. Renfield, how are we today?
I need them. I need to talk to them. You need to listen to what they say. People should listen more.
Mr. Renfield, by them, you mean the flies you have been catching recently?
Indeed. They're an odd sort of pet, this I know, but they're mine and you can't take them away from me. They whisper to me. They know what is about to happen. That's why they come to me, to tell me that the Master is preparing as we speak. He will be here soon and give me life eternal. This fly, sir. Does he talk to you, Doctor? Can you understand what he is saying?
I hear nothing, Mr. Renfield. Why don't you help me to understand by telling me what he's saying? You have such a quantity of flies that surely the noise of them speaking all at once is the thing preventing you from sleeping. I only say this because the nurses have noticed you spend all the twilight hours looking out of your window at the moon. Is there something out there that calls to you? Does the brightness of the moon make you restless?
Even as a doctor, you would never understand or even comprehend. I can smell your fear, Doctor. Do you not want my pet?
I thank you for the gesture, Mr. Renfield, but no.
Then it has let me down and I have no further use for it. I shall eat it.
This hobby of yours, catching flies. It needs to stop. Do you understand?
May I have 3 days? I shall clear them away, but I would like to say goodbye to each individually.
3 days, but no longer.
Jonathan.
Thank goodness it's you. Or my mind talking to itself.
You must remain strong, Jonathan. Think of Mina. Think of her world without you.
I must double my efforts to escape this place. But tell me, what is your name? Why do you not show yourself to me?
It is necessary for you to secure a means of escape. Your one hope is to venture deeper into the castle, to the crypt. There you will find the Count sleeping. He has a key that will unlock the doors, but you must pass through them to escape this treacherous place. It is time for me to leave. The Count sleeps, but only for a few hours.
What is happening to me? May God preserve my sanity. If I be sane, then surely it is maddening to think that of all the foul things that lurk in this hateful place, that the Count is the least dreadful to me. Merciful God, let me be calm. I turn to my journal for repose. The habit of entering accurately must help to soothe me. I must find this key. What? The Count? What is the Count doing in this coffin? Compose yourself, Jonathan. You need to find this key. Soil? Why would this be here?
Jonathan, Count Dracula. This is the creature you were helping to transfer to London, where, for centuries to come, he might, amongst its teeming millions, satiate his lust for blood and create a new and ever-widening circle of semi-demons to batten on the helpless. Does that very thought not concern you? Look at his bloated face. Does a terrible desire to rid the world of such a monster not fill you? There, the shovel beside you. Pick it up and strike it down.
I must rid the world of you, Count Dracula. You must die. What is this? Why can I not move?
I can feel the warm blood running through his veins.
Such soulful eyes.
His skin, so soft, like silk.
Let me run my hands through his hair.
Who are these demon creatures?
Now then, which one of us shall bite his tender neck first?
Go on. You are first, and I shall follow. Yours is the right to begin.
Please, God, show mercy!
He's young and strong. There are kisses for us all.
Sweet, honey sweet, sends a tingling right through me.
So weak, so frail, so human.
Moonlight highlights the moisture on scarlet lips, and on her tongue, as it laps the white, sharp teeth.
Lower and lower goes her head as the lips go below your mouth and chin. They're about to fasten on your throat, Jonathan. Can you hear the churning sound of her tongue as it licks her teeth and lips, and feel the hot breath on your neck? The skin of your throat begins to tingle as one's flesh does when the hand that is to tickle it approaches nearer, nearer. Jonathan, you can feel the soft, shivering touch of the lips on the sensitive skin of your throat, and the hard dents of two sharp teeth, just touching and pausing there. Close your eyes in the luxurious ecstasy and wait. Wait with a beating heart.
How dare you touch him? Any of you? How dare you cast eyes on him when I have forbidden it? Back, I tell you! This man belongs to me. I promise you that when I'm done with him, you shall kiss him at your will. Have patience! Tonight is mine. Tomorrow night is yours.
Evcol Entertainment presents Bram Stoker's Dracula, Episode 5.
Renfield has turned his mind now to spiders. He keeps feeding them with his flies, and the number of the latter is becoming sensibly diminished, although he has used half his food in attracting more flies from outside to his room.
My spiders are essential to me. They're not becoming as great a nuisance as my flies. You asked me to get rid of the flies, which I did. How can I help it if they return and want to be with me? They are my comfort. I need them.
The flies or the spiders?
Both. Shall I eat you? That was good. And very wholesome, Doctor. You really should try them sometime. You see, it was life, a strong life, and it gave life to me.
May I ask what it is that you're writing? Am I permitted to see it?
You wouldn't understand what it means. Only my friends and I know its meaning. I will hold it out to you, but you cannot touch it or take it away from me. Now, you must give me your word on that.
These numbers. You appear to have many pages of them. Can you tell me what they mean?
I could, but I won't.
And why not?
The master would be displeased.
You seem to have many single numbers added up in batches, and then the totals added in batches again. Is there significance to this? It reads like an auditor's notebook.
You have seen enough. The master will be displeased if I permit you to see more.
I see. Mr. Renfield, I am leaving for a few days, but shall call in on you upon my return.
As you wish. Time is running out, though. Don't be away for too long.
Mrs. Evans, I'm anxious. It soothes me to express myself here to you. I hope you don't find it too much of an imposition.
Not at all, Miss Mina. You know that I'm always here for you.
Just like whispering to oneself. Listening at the same time. There is something about Jonathan's shorthand symbols that makes it different from writing. I'm unhappy. About Lucy and about Jonathan. I had not heard from him for some time and was very concerned. But yesterday, dear Mr. Morford sent me a letter from him. I had written asking if he had heard, and he said the enclosed had just been received. It is only a line dated from Castle Dracula. It says he is just starting for home. That is not like Jonathan. And then there's Lucy. She's taken to her old habit of sleepwalking. Her mother has spoken to me about it, and we have decided that I am to lock the door of her room every night. Lucy's father had the same habit. As you know, Lucy is to be married in the autumn to Arthur Holmwood, and she is already planning out her dresses. He is coming up here very shortly, as soon as he can leave town, for his father is not well. I think dear Lucy is counting the moments till he comes. I dare say it is the waiting which disturbs her.
I'm sure that's the case. Wedding nerves have a habit of making people do strange things. It'll be her nerves. And now that you have told me, I'll keep an eye on her for you. Why don't you speak with Mr. Holmwood? He can advise you about Miss Lucy. He's friends with Dr. Seward. I'm sure he'd be only too happy to help.
That's a wonderful idea. I'm sure Lucy wouldn't mind, and it is for her safety and well-being that we are thinking after all. Thank you so much. I'm sure all will be well. It's just... well... I miss Jonathan terribly.
Mr. Harker's a fine man. I'm sure he's counting the hours until you're together again.
You are a comfort to me. And now I must write Mr. Holmwood's letter.
So, you are Jonathan's Mina. How fortunate he has your image with him. You must be dear to his heart. You remind me of the one I lost. My love, taken from me. Soon you'll be mine. But not before I drink from your fiancé. He is something we shall share.
Doctor, how pleased I am to see you. I have a very great favour to ask. A kitten. A nice little sleek, playful kitten that I can play with and teach and feed and feed and feed.
But what of your sparrows? Were they not companioning enough for you? You look pale, Mr. Renfield. Have you been eating and sleeping enough?
I sleep some, and have eaten well today.
But the nurse told me you just sent your food back, having not touched it.
Ah, yes, well, I had to eat them. They ate all my flies and spiders, and well, a kitten would be such a comfort to me.
Eat them? Eat what?
Why, the sparrows, of course.
You ate live sparrows?
After I had broken their necks. So nourishing.
I need to get you to the infirmary. No wonder you have such a grey pallor.
But what of the kitten?
You need to give me time to think about your request. Would you not prefer a cat than a kitten?
Oh, yes, I would like a cat. I only asked for a kitten lest you should refuse me a cat. No one would refuse me a kitten, would they?
I will see what I can do.
Tomorrow, my friend, we must part. You return to your beautiful England. I have a task which may have such an end that we may never meet again. In the morning come the Tsigani, who have some labors of their own here, and also come some Slovaks. When they have gone, my carriage shall come for you, and shall bear you to the Bogo Pass to meet the diligence from Bukovina to Bistrica.
Why may I not go tonight?
Because... Yes, sir. My coachman and horses are away on a mission.
I would walk, with pleasure.
And... your baggage?
I can send for it some other time.
You English have a saying which is close to my heart, for its spirit is that which rules our boieri. Welcome the coming, speed the parting guest. Come with me. Not an hour shall you wait in my house against your will, though sad am I at your going. Come!
I can't leave. Please, close the door. I shall wait.
To struggle against me is useless, my friend. Here you will remain. I'm so looking forward to visiting England and, of course, meeting your Mina.
Mina! I am trapped in this place with these demons. I shall not remain with them. I shall scale the castle wall farther than I have yet attempted. I shall find the key. I will find a way out from this dreadful place. Away from this cursed land.
Evcol Entertainment presents Bram Stoker's Dracula, Episode 6.
'Tis a most strange case, Holmwood. Seems to be no rhyme nor reason for it. One day perfectly sane, healthy man, but within less than a week of returning from Europe he became, well, What you see before you.
Have you called in anyone for a second opinion?
Indeed. I have corresponded with several colleagues, 2 of which I'm hoping will join me later this week.
Disgorged a whole lot of feathers, you say?
Yes, he admitted that he's eaten his birds. He just took them and ate them whole.
And did he give a reason why?
He said they'd eaten his spiders and flies. He appears to be rebuilding, starting the process again. Flies to spiders, spiders to birds. Who knows where it would end, given the opportunity? I gave Mr. Renfield a strong opiate last night, enough to make even him sleep, and took away his pocketbook to look at it. My homicidal maniac is of a peculiar kind. I shall have to invent a new classification for him. A zoophagous maniac. What he desires is to absorb as many lives as he can, and he has laid himself out to achieve it in a cumulative way. He gave many flies to one spider, and many spiders to one bird, and then wanted a cat to eat the many birds. What would have been his later steps?
It is indeed a complicated matter, and one I'm sure you'll rise to the challenge of. John, there's another reason for me visiting you today. It's a delicate matter that I'm unsure of how to tackle. It's Lucy. I'm sure you are aware that she and I are to be married.
Arthur, Lucy has made her decision, and I respect that, and am happy for you both. Truly. So please, let us not allow this to come between us.
You are indeed a gentleman, and a good friend. There's something else about Lucy.
She's not ill, I hope?
Of that, I am not sure. I received this letter from Mina Murray, who is staying with Lucy presently. It appears that Lucy has been sleepwalking, and it's getting to an extreme where she's leaving the house and waking up some distance from there. I'm sure you can imagine how distressing this is. What if something untoward should happen while she is in this state? Is there anything you can do?
Has she contacted her physician?
You know Lucy. She's of a mind that there's nothing the matter and that we're all fussing over a trifle.
But you sense it is more than that.
Indeed. Would you be so good?
Say no more. Why don't we visit with Lucy and Miss Murray, and after I examine her I can determine what needs to be done.
Are you sure? I do not want to place you in an unfortunate position with regards to Miss Westenra.
Arthur, 'tis true that I have great affection for Lucy, but her friendship is something I cherish, and place that above all else.
Thank you, John. I will arrange for us to meet with the ladies.
Of course.
Until then.
Oh, Lucy. I cannot be angry with you. Nor can I be angry with my friend whose happiness is yours. If I only could have a cause as strong as my poor mad friend here. A good, unselfish cause to make me work. That would indeed be happiness.
Remember, these crates need to be at Varna no later than Tuesday. The Demeter sails on the evening tide to England and all 50 need to be aboard. The captain is awaiting your arrival. I shall follow you presently. Now be away and stop for no one. Goodbye, Jonathan Harker. We will not meet again. I will pass on your best to sweet Mina. Thank you for returning my love to me. After one glance into my eyes, she will be mine. I'm leaving you here to amuse my concubines. They are very playful and so looking forward to having you. Don't disappoint them.
Mina!
Miss Mina, there are no letters for you. I'm sure you'll hear word soon. It was quite a storm we had last night. Didn't manage to sleep a wink myself.
Thank you, Mrs. Evans. I live in hope that I do. And yes, the rain. It was particularly ferocious.
Be strong, dear Mina. Jonathan's heart is yours, and I'm sure that as soon as he is able, he will send word.
I need some air. Maybe a walk along the seafront. Lucy, I need to speak with you about last night.
But it's getting late. Anyway, if it's solitude you seek, Miss Mina, then the seafront's the last place I would go at present.
And why might that be, Mrs. Evans?
Well, the ship. The one grounded on the rocks. Quite a sight it is. People from all over have come to see. Other than the captain, there was not a soul on board, they say. Henry Applegate, the butcher, he says the boat drove right up on the sand heap. Every spar, rope and stay was strained. But he heard the strangest thing.
And what was that?
Well, one of the watchmen said that the very instant the shore was touched, an immense dog sprang up on deck from below and, running forward, jumped from the bow onto the sand, making straight for the steep cliff, where the churchyard hangs over the laneway to the East Pier.
A dog. Are you sure he's not telling you one of his tall stories?
It appears that the Coast Guard found the captain literally lashed to the wheel. It was no wonder that the poor man was shocked, or even awed, for not often can such a sight have been seen. The man was simply fastened by his hands, tied one over the other, to a spoke of the wheel. Between the inner hand and the wood was a crucifix, the set of beads on which it was fastened being around both wrists and wheel, and all kept fast by the binding cords. The poor fellow may have been seated at one time, but the flapping and buffeting of the sails had worked through the rudder of the wheel and dragged him to and fro, so that the cords with which he was tied had cut the flesh to the bone.
Mrs. Evans, you recount a tall tale.
As God is my witness, it is no word of a lie, I promise.
We should go and see. How exciting!
How ghoulish. The poor man. But no word of his crew.
Not a word. It turns out that the schooner is a Russian from Varna and is called the Demeter. She is almost entirely in ballast of silver sand, with only a small amount of cargo, a number of great wooden boxes filled with mould. The cargo was consigned to a Whitby solicitor, Mr. S.F. Billington of 7 the Crescent, who this morning went aboard to take possession. But the boxes were all broken and sodden with seawater.
How strange. But what of the hound?
The hound?
Oh, Mina, the one that jumped from the ship.
It was not to be found. It seems to have disappeared entirely from the town. It may be that it was frightened and made its way onto the moors. There are some who look with dread, for it is evidently a fierce brute. Early this morning, a large dog, a half-bred mastiff close to the Tate Hill Pier, was found dead in the roadway. It had been fighting and manifestly had had a savage opponent, for its throat was torn away and its belly was slit open as if with a savage claw.
Mrs. Evans!
Well, I say it as I see it, or as it's told to me. We should all be on our guard, if you ask me. There's something in the air, I tell you. I can feel it. Nothing that I can rightly put my finger on, but nevertheless. It's getting late. I shall turn down your beds.
Thank you, Mrs. Evans. You are most kind. Lucy, there is something I need to speak with you about.
About the boat? The hound?
You are so excitable. No, neither of those things. It's about, well, your sleepwalking. Lucy, I have taken the liberty of writing to Arthur. Please do not think badly of me. It is for your own safety that we are all concerned.
Mina, why should you do such a thing?
I have been concerned for some time. But last night, you frightened me. Your bed was empty. I looked for you in all the other open rooms of the house. Finally, I came to the hall door and found it open. The clock was striking 1 as I was in the crescent, and there was not a soul in sight. I ran along the north terrace but could see no sign of you. The coming of the cloud was too quick for me to see much, but it seemed to me as though something dark stood behind the seat you loved so much. What it was, whether man or beast, I could not tell. There was undoubtedly something, long and black, bending over your half-reclining white figure. I called in fright, "Lucy! Lucy!" And something raised a head. and from where I was, I could see a white face and red, gleaming eyes. You did not answer, and I ran. I could see you half reclining with your head lying over the back of the seat. You were quite alone. When I bent over you, I could see that you were still asleep. Your lips were parted, and you were breathing, not softly as usual, but in long, heavy gasps. It took me an age, but I brought you back home. Are you certain you can recall none of what I describe?
Mina, I have no recollection of all that you say. I know that you mean well. I simply do not know what I would do without you and your friendship. I am sorry, but I'm feeling so terribly tired. I think I need to lie down.
Your neck! Have you been bitten?
I did not notice. Whatever it is has become more tiresome as the day has passed.
Let me see.
Please, don't fuss. I'm sure it is nothing.
You have been bitten. I'm going to call for Arthur and John this instant. They were planning to visit anyway, but this matter is becoming too serious to ignore.
Oh, Mina, please. There really is nothing.
Oh, Lucy. Mrs. Evans, quickly. Lucy's fainted. Mrs. Evans!
Dear Master. The Master is preparing as we speak. Dear Master.
Evcol Entertainment presents Bram Stoker's Dracula, Episode 7.
I am here to do your bidding, Master.
Homeward. There was a strange and sudden change in Renfield last night.
How so?
At about 8 o'clock, he began to get excited and sniff about as a dog does when setting. The attendant encouraged him to talk. He is usually respectful to the attendant and at times servile, but the man told me he would not condescend to talk with him at all. All he would say was, "I don't want to talk to you. You don't count now. The master is at hand."
And do you have any answers as to the cause of these events?
Not at present. The attendant thinks it is some sudden form of religious mania which has seized him. Mrs. Evans, what brings you here? Is everything well with Miss Lucy?
You need to leave this place. Certain death waits if you remain.
Who are you? A gypsy? But I thought you worked for...
Shh! For centuries, the Count imprisoned my people. I've been watching you. The games he plays with you. I should not wish you to suffer the same fate as we have done. With him gone, you have a chance to escape. Take these coins. This will help you travel to your own home.
I do not know what to say. I wondered if I would ever be able to.
My friends are waiting for you beyond the castle gates. Some fear this place too much to enter.
But not you.
I have faced death too many times to concern myself with fear now. The Count has use for me, intending for what remains of his estate. His women will sleep for hours now. This is your chance and you must not spend another moment here.
But...
Go, for time is not on your side.
I hope that one day I can repay you for your kindness.
Then let us leave that in the hands of the fates. Now go.
John. Arthur. She's worsened.
How so?
Last night I followed her, and eventually found... At first I thought she was alone, but then... there was something else there. A dark shape leaning over her. I called out. It raised its head and I saw a face. White as the moon. Piercing red eyes. I ran towards her, but she was alone when I arrived. And this bite has been plaguing her all day. I did not see it last night.
Did she say anything with regards to this bite?
Not a word. It only seemed to trouble her this afternoon.
She is running a high fever. She looks almost anemic. Mrs. Evans, has there been any alteration in Miss Westenra's diet?
She has been slightly off her food in recent days, and I don't think she has yet eaten today. I'll go and prepare something and see if the poor thing will eat.
Was it an animal? A man?
It was dark, and my only concern was for Lucy. But I could swear it was a man, but not a man like I have ever seen before.
We must get her to a hospital. She is clearly worsening.
No, I am staying here. With my Mina. My neck. Arthur, it burns.
I'm here, my darling. John, what are we to do?
Clearly Miss Westenra wants to remain here, and if that is so, she needs to be made as comfortable as possible. What concerns me more than anything is what or who she was bitten by, and what possible ailment she may have contracted from that bite. She is getting weaker. Holmwood, do you remember me speaking to you with regards to Van Helsing, the professor I studied under?
Yes, his ideas are simply outrageous. What help might he be anyway? And is he not in Europe?
No, he is attending a seminar in London. His ideas are often unorthodox, I grant you that, but he remains one of the most advanced scientists to date.
Are you not overreacting? Lucy has been bitten, but do you not feel it's somewhat of a leap to contact Van Helsing about a matter that is a treatable infection of some kind?
My dear friend, in the time we have been here, Miss Westenra's condition has worsened. Her eyes have become sunken, and all colour has gone. It's as if her very life is being, or has been, drained, for want of a better word. Knowing something of Van Helsing's work, particularly that which appertains to bites and tropical infections, I consider his counsel the most appropriate course of action. I shall take my leave and contact him immediately. Miss Murray, do not leave Miss Lucy's side. Ensure she drinks as often as she is able. I will return as soon as I can.
I will remain with her.
Thank you, Mina. John, I will come with you. Let us travel to London this very night. I only hope that you are right with regards to Van Helsing.
So do I, my friend. So do I.
I write by desire of Mr. Jonathan Harker, who is himself not strong enough to write, though progressing well, thanks to God. He is under our care, suffering from a violent brain fever. He wishes me to convey his love and to say, with his dutiful respects, that he is sorry for his delay and that all his work is completed. He has told me all about you and that you are shortly to be his wife. All blessings to you both. He has had some fearful shock, so says our doctor, and in his delirium his ravings have been dreadful, of wolves and poison and blood, of ghosts and demons. Be careful with him always. The traces of such an illness as his do not lightly die away. In a short time, he has won all hearts by his sweetness and gentleness. He is truly getting on well, and I have no doubt will in a few weeks be all himself. But be careful of him for safety's sake. Many, many happy years for you both. Sister Agatha.
And at last, correspondence from Jonathan. Though I am relieved he is safe and recovering, he has asked that I visit him, and that we be married the moment I arrive. Oh, Lucy, I have sent a telegram to say yes. Yes, and 1,000,000 times yes. But I wonder, looking at you as I do, whether I should not remain here. My dearest Lucy, what is happening to you? Since that thing bit you, and you grow no stronger. I hope Dr. Seward returns shortly. There has been no news. I will be back presently. Keep fighting, Lucy.
and drink.
Hello? Is there anyone there? What in God's name are you? Mrs. Evans, come quickly!
Whatever is the matter, Miss Mina?
That creature I saw last week when Lucy was sleepwalking. It was here, in this very room.
Has it gone?
It just disappeared.
Miss Mina, you check on Miss Lucy. I'll make sure all the doors and windows in the house are locked.
Lucy has a burning temperature. Telegram to Arthur and John, telling them of what has happened and that they must return here quickly.
But of course, Miss Mina.
Evcol Entertainment presents Bram Stoker's Dracula, Episode 8.
John, good to see you. And your friend?
Arthur has travelled back to Whitby. There was startling news from Mrs. Evans, the housekeeper.
Pray tell.
Well, it seems that the creature that bit Miss Lucy returned to her rooms, and her fever is racing. The bite mark on her neck, the one I explained to you, it has also become inflamed.
Does the fiancé know I'm here?
Arthur knew I planned to meet with you and ask you visit Miss Westenra, but I have not yet informed him of your arrival.
Let me caution you. All men are mad in some way or the other, and in so much as you deal discreetly with your madmen, so deal with God's madmen too. You tell not your madmen what you do, nor why you do it. You tell them not what you think. So you shall keep knowledge in its place, where it may rest, where it may gather its kind around it and breed. You and I shall keep as yet what we know here, in your heart, and here, in your head. I have for myself thoughts at the present. Later I shall unfold to you.
Why not now? It may do some good. We may arrive at some decision.
Let's not be premature. Let me see your patient and make an informed decision from that point onwards. You were always a careful student, John, and your casebook was ever fuller than the rest. You were only student then. Now you are master, and I trust that good habit have not failed. Remember, my friend, that knowledge is stronger than memory, and we should not trust the weaker.
I suggest we travel with all haste to Whitby, for I fear that Miss Westenra is worsening by the hour. Lucy, I'd like you to meet Professor Van Helsing, a good friend, and my tutor.
Professor, it's so good of you to come. But surely I am fine. Just a little tired.
Professor. Mina Murray, Lucy's friend.
The one who has not left Miss Westenra's side. You are indeed a good friend.
For what good it has done.
Good friends on hand to help and nurse are to be cherished, Miss Murray. John tells me it is you who have seen this, how shall we say, for want of a better description, creature that it's believed has bitten Miss Lucy.
Indeed. I believe it to be a man, of sorts, but his face so pale. It's like nothing I have seen previous.
Indeed. Well, I should like to talk with you further about exactly what it was you saw. But for now, my attention really be with Miss Lucy. Is that agreeable with you?
Yes, indeed. I need to prepare for my journey to meet with my fiancé. I leave tomorrow, unless you think I should remain.
No, not at all. Lucy is in good hands here. She will be well looked after. And your fiancé, from what I hear, is going to need some nursing of his own. And I can think of no one better than his love to do that. But before you leave, you and I can speak but for a few more moments about what it was you saw. And you must be Arthur Holmwood, Lucy's fiancé?
Indeed. Thank you so much for coming.
Well, let's not be thanking each other presently. Not until we investigate what ails Miss Westenra, and see if we can find a means by which to make her well again. There's no time to be lost. She will die for sheer want of blood to keep the heart's action as it is. There must be transfusion of blood at once. Is it you or me?
I am younger and stronger. Professor, it must be me.
Then get ready at once. I have my bag. I am prepared.
What are your thoughts, Professor?
She is bad. Very, very bad. Nay, do not be weak. You are to help her. You can do more than any that live. Your courage is your best help.
What can I do? Tell me and I shall do it. My life is hers, and I would give the last drop of blood in my body for her.
Mine young, I do not ask so much as that. Not the least. Young miss wants blood, and blood she must have or die. My friend John and I have consulted, and we are about to perform what we call transfusion of blood, to transfer from full veins of one to the empty veins which pine for him. John was to give his blood, as he is the younger and stronger than me. But you are better than either of us. Old or young, who toil much in the world of thought. Our nerves are not so calm, nor blood not so bright than yours.
If you only knew how gladly I would die for her, you would understand.
Good. In the not so far off, you will be happy that you have done all for her you love. Come now and be silent. You shall kiss her once before it is done, but then you must go, and you must leave at my command. Now, mein Lieber, here's your medicine. Drink it off like a good child. See, I lift you so that to swallow is easy. Hot mesh. Now, Arthur, take off your coat. You may take that one little kiss whilst I prepare. There, John. You see how the blood flows. The brave laugher, I think, deserve another kiss, which he shall have presently. Now, Mrs. Evans, take down our brave young laugher. Give him of the port wine and let him lay down a while. He must then go home and rest, sleep much and eat much. Then he may be recruited of what he has so given to his laugh. He must not stay here. Hold. A moment. I may take it, sir, that you are anxious of result. Then bring it with you that in all ways the operation is successful. You have saved her life this time. And you can go home and rest easy in mind that all that can be is. I shall tell her all when she is well. She shall love you none the less for what you have done. Goodbye.
What do you make of that mark on her throat?
What do you make of it?
I have not examined it properly yet.
Then do so, immediately. Well?
I can make nothing of it.
I must go back to Amsterdam tonight. There are books and things there which I need. You must remain here all the night, and you must not let your sight pass from her. No nurses. We are the best nurses, you and I. You keep watch all night, and you see that nothing disturbs her. I shall be back as soon as possible. And then, we may begin.
Begin? What on earth do you mean?
We shall see. Remember, John, she is your charge now. If you leave her and harm befalls, you shall not sleep easy hereafter. In 2 days I shall return.
You do not want to go to sleep?
I'm afraid.
Afraid to sleep? Why so? It is the boon we all crave for.
Not if you were like me. If sleep was to you a presage of horror.
A presage of horror? What on earth do you mean?
I don't know. And that is what is so terrible. All this weakness comes to me in sleep.
But you may sleep tonight. I am here watching you and promise that nothing will happen.
I can trust you.
If I see any evidence of bad dreams, I will wake you at once.
You will? Really? How good you are to me. Then I will sleep.
Ah, Mrs. Evans. Lucy sleeps soundly.
I'm glad. Now, Dr. Seward, you look worn out. No sitting up tonight for you. I'm more than capable of sitting with Miss Lucy. If there is to be any sitting up, it is I who will sit up with you both. You must stay here. I shall leave this door open and that door too. You can lie on the sofa, for I know that nothing would induce any of you doctors to go to bed while there is a patient above the horizon. If she needs anything, I shall call out and you can come to her at once.
Thank you, Mrs. Evans, but I insist you call me if anything happens.
Now, off to sleep with ya.
Oh, my dearest Lucy, I worry for you so much. I know you are in safe hands. I know you'll be anxious to hear all that has happened since I caught the boat to Hamburg. I did want to say goodbye, but John thought it best I let you sleep. I found my dear one so thin and pale and weak-looking. He is a wreck of himself, and he does not remember anything that has happened to him. At least, he wants me to believe so, and I shall never ask. He has had some terrible shock. Sister Agatha, a born nurse, tells me that he raved of dreadful things while he was off his head. I wanted her to tell me what they were, but she would only cross herself.
If a nurse, through her vocation, should hear them, she should respect her trust.
I understand, but I'm so worried.
I can tell you this much, that it was not about anything which he has done wrong himself, and you, as his wife-to-be, have no cause to be concerned.
I had begun to believe that he should have fallen in love with another. I tremble at the idea of my being jealous about Jonathan. And yet, sister, hearing those words fills me with a joy when I knew that no other woman was a cause of trouble. I would like to sit by his bedside. Sister, he's waking.
My love, you came to me.
Of course. Nothing in this world would stop me.
Thank you for sending for my love.
Her being here will help you grow strong.
Sister, could you bring my coat journal?
I have it right here.
Wilhelmina, you know, dear, my ideas of trust between husband and wife. I have had a great shock, and I do not know if it was all real or the dreaming of a madman. The secret is here, and I do not want to know it. Are you willing, Wilhelmina, to share my ignorance? Here is the book. Take it, keep it, read it if you will, but never, never let me know.
I will never open it unless it was for your own dear sake. Sister Agatha, you mentioned that Jonathan asked for us to be married as soon as I arrived. May that be so?
The formalities are being taken care of as we speak. The chaplain of the English Mission Church has been sent for. You will be married this afternoon. Although it is against the doctor's advice, Mr. Harker wishes to return home no later than 2 days' time. He will not say it, but he has become fearful and wishes to leave as soon as he can.
Thank you, sister.
Now, let's get this young man to his room.
Mr. Renfield, is there something the matter? Is there something bothering you?
I don't want to talk to you. You don't count now. The master is at hand.
Master? Which master would that be? Is it your spiders you speak of?
Bother them all. I don't care a pin about them.
What? You don't mean to tell me you don't care about spiders? But you have a notebook filled with columns of small figures all relating to your spiders.
The bride maidens rejoice, the eyes that wait the coming of the bride. But as the bride draws nigh, then the maidens shine not to the eyes that are filled.
I'm not sure I understand. A bat? What the?
I am here to do your bidding, master. I am your slave, and you will reward me, for I will be faithful. I have worshipped you long and afar off. Now that you are here, I await your commands, and you will not pass me by, will you, dear master, in your distribution of good things? I shall be patient, master. It's coming. Coming! But now I can wait.
Evcol Entertainment presents Bram Stoker's Dracula, Episode 9.
And how is our patient?
Well, when I left her, or rather when she left me...
Come, let us see. Mein Gott in the Himmel. Quickly, bring the brandy. It is not too late. The heart it beats, though but feebly. All our work is undone. We must begin again. There's no young Arthur here now. I have to call on you yourself this time, friend John. Very good, John. Transfusion goes well. I fear that with growing strength she may wake, and that would make danger, oh, so much danger. But I shall precaution take. I shall give hypodermic injection of morphia. There. That will do.
Really? You took a great deal more from Arthur.
He is her lover, her fiancé. You have work, much work to do, for her and for others, and the present will suffice. Nothing must be said of this. If our young lover should turn up unexpected as before, no word to him. It would at once frighten and jealous him so. You are not much the worse. Go into the room and lay on your sofa. Rest a while, then come here to me.
The professor thought these might brighten your spirits.
Thank you, Mrs. Evans. These are for you, Miss Lucy.
For me? Why, thank you, Professor.
Yes, mein Kind, but not for you to play with. No, these are medicines. Nay, but they are not for you to take in decoction or in nauseous form, so you need not snub that so charming nose. These be medicinal, but you do not know how. I put him in your window. I make pretty reeds and hang him round your neck so that you sleep well. Smell them like the lotus flowers, they wash away your troubles. They, like the lotus flower, make your trouble forgotten. Smells so like the waters of the Lethe, and of that fountain of youth that the conquistadors sought for in the Flanders and find him all too late.
Professor, I believe you are only putting up a joke on me. Why, these flowers are but common garlic.
No trifling with me! I never jest. There's grim purpose in all I do. Take care for the sake of others, if not for your own. Do not fear me, mein Kind. I only do for your good. But there is much virtue to you in these so common flowers. See, I place them myself in your room. I make myself the wreath that you are to wear. But hush, no telling to others that make so inquisitive questions.
Well, Professor, I know you always have a reason for what you do, but this certainly puzzles me. It is well we have no skeptic here, or he would say that you are working some spell to keep out an evil spirit.
Perhaps I am. Mein Liebe, tonight when you go to sleep, take care you do not disturb it. And even if the room feel close, do not tonight open the window or the door.
I promise. And thank you, both, 1,000 times, for all your kindness to me.
Tonight I can sleep in peace, and sleep I want. 2 nights of travel, much reading in the day between, and much anxiety on the day to follow. John, tomorrow in the morning early you go for me. We come together to see Miss Westerner.
You will be glad to know that Lucy is better. The dear child is still asleep. I looked in her room and saw her, but didn't go in, lest I should disturb her.
Mrs. Evans, I thought I had diagnosed the case. My treatment is working.
You mustn't take all the credit to yourself, Doctor. Lucy's state this morning is due in part to me.
How you do mean, ma'am?
Well, I was anxious about the dear child in the night and went into her room. She was sleeping soundly, so soundly that even my coming did not wake her. But the room was awfully stuffy with those horrible, strong-smelling flowers you brought, and she had some of them around her neck. I feared that the heavy odour would be too much for the dear child in her weak state, so I took them all away and opened a bit of the window to let in a little fresh air. You will be pleased with her, I'm sure.
What for dawn? What have we done? What has she done that we are so sore beset? Is there fate amongst us still sent down from the pagan world of old that such things must be and in such way? How are all the powers of the devils against us? Come, John, we must see and act. Devils or no devils or devils all at once, it matters not. We fight him all the same. It is not yet too late. Quick, bring the brandy.
Will she live, Professor?
If I thought not, I would stop here where we are now and let her fade away into peace. But she is so weak. Truly, I see no light in life over her horizon.
But surely there is something we can do.
My lord, the knowledge of what to do eludes me. Where are we to turn for help? We must have another transfusion of blood, or that poor girl's life won't be worth an hour's purchase. You are exhausted already. I am exhausted too. I fear to trust those women, even if they would have courage to submit. What are we to do for someone who will open his veins for her?
John, Professor. I sent word I was traveling from London today. My father seems to be improving, and so I wanted to spend some time with Lucy. What? What has happened? She is worse. Why was I not told? Why did you not send for me?
Your Lucy was improving, dramatically. But last night, well, it seems that matters have taken a turn for the worst.
Arthur, we have only just arrived ourselves.
What needs to be done to save her?
A brave man's blood is the best thing on this earth when a woman is in trouble. You be a man, and no mistake. Well, the devil may work against us for all his words, but God sends us men when we need them. Very good. John, tend to your friend. Brandy will help.
John, I'm losing track of the days. How long has this been going on?
About 10 days.
10 days? Then I guess, my friend, that poor Lucy, that we love, has put into her veins within that time the blood of 2 strong men. Man alive, her whole body wouldn't hold it. But what took it out?
That is the crux. Van Helsing is simply frantic about it, and I am at my wit's end. I can't even hazard a guess. There has been a series of little circumstances which have thrown out all of our calculations as to Lucy being properly watched.
And what of her chances?
Again, that, my friend, is a question I simply can't answer as of yet.
John, come here. The bite marks on her neck. They have vanished, and the pulse is so weak. It will not be long now. It will be much difference, mark me, whether she dies conscious or in her sleep.
Arthur. Oh, my love. I'm so glad you have come. Kiss me.
Arthur, beware. Do not get too close. She is gone.
Peace. At long last.
Not so, Les. Not so. It is only the beginning.
What do you mean?
We can do nothing as yet. Wait and see. Tomorrow, John, I want you to bring me before nightfall a set of post-mortem knives.
Must we make an autopsy?
Yes and no. I want to operate, but not as you think. Let me tell you now, but not a word to another. I want to cut off her head and take out her heart. You, a surgeon, and so shocked. You, whom I have seen with no tremble of hand or heart do operations of life and death that make the rest shudder. I must not forget, my dear friend John, how you loved her. And I have not forgotten it. For it is I that shall operate. You must only help. I would like to do it tonight, but for Arthur I must not. He will want to see her. To see it. Then, when she is coffined ready for the next day, you and I shall come when no sleep. We unscrew the coffin lid and do our operation, then replace all so that none know save we alone.
But why do it at all? The girl is dead. Why mutilate her poor body without need? And if there is no necessity for a post-mortem and nothing to gain by it, no good to her, to us, to science, to human knowledge, why do it? Without such, it is monstrous.
John, I pity your poor bleeding heart. If I could, I would take on myself the burden that you do bear. You have been my friends now for many years, and yet did you ever know me to do any without good cause? I am only man, but I believe in all I do. Were you not amazed, nay horrified, when I would not let Arthur kiss his love, though she was dying, and snatch him away with all my strength? Well, I have good reason now for all I want to do. You have for many years trusted me. You have believed me weeks past when there be things so strange that you might have well doubt. Believe me yet a little, John. There are strange, terrible days before us. Let us not be two but one. That so we work together to good end. Will you not have faith in me?
Yes. I do.
Evcol Entertainment presents Bram Stoker's Dracula. Episode 10.
Jonathan, what is it, my love?
My God. Do you see who it is?
No, dear, I don't know him. Who is it?
It's the man himself. It's the Count. My God. If it be so, oh my God. My God. If I only knew. If I only knew.
Come, my dear, it's been a tiring day. Let us make our way home. Look, here we are, back home. Here, a telegram has arrived for you.
Professor Van Helsing? The man you spoke of? Oh. This is terrible news.
You will be grieved to hear that Miss Lucy Westenra died the day before yesterday. Stop. She was buried today. Stop. I have the need to speak urgently with Miss Murray, née Harker, and if convenient will tomorrow catch the early morning train to meet with you. Oh, what a wealth of sorrow in a few words. Poor Lucy. Gone. Gone never to return to us. And poor Arthur to have lost such sweetness out of his life. God help us.
Please forgive me. I have the need to rest my head a while. Mina, I will never tire of seeing your beautiful face. It is a vision that has seen me through the most treacherous of times. I love you so very much.
And are you my husband? You are my world. Now pray go rest.
Madam Mina, so good to see you again. The last time we met, I wanted to ask you what you remembered when you discovered Miss Lucy and the creature, but time was not on our side.
I know, but I believe I told you all that I could remember.
I see. But let us explore the possibility that there be additional details, facts, if you like, which would help me right a terrible wrong. I have been empowered by Arthur Holmwood to read his poor-departed fiancée's papers and letters and wish to ask you some questions appertaining to my findings.
I can tell you, I believe, Professor, all that I can remember, only hoping that it will be of use to you.
Then you have a good memory for facts, for details.
Not especially so, but I wrote it all down, typed it in manuscript form, and included in it are the words from my husband's journal, so people, should they wish, know everything.
Are wonderfully practical. May I read it?
If you wish.
Oh, madame, how can I say what I owe to you? These journals, this manuscript, it opens the gate to me. I am so very grateful to you. If ever Abraham Van Helsing can do anything for you or yours, I trust you will call on me.
Professor, you praise me too much.
Now, please, tell me, how is your husband?
He was recovering well, but has had a recent shock. You are aware that Mr. Morford, Jonathan's employer, passed away recently, and Jonathan has taken over his duty.
Indeed. But, you say, was recovering well?
It was yesterday, before we read your telegram. He thought he saw someone. The image of the person he went to Transylvania to meet, something which led to his brain fever. Dracula. Count Dracula.
I fear for you both. My life is a lonely one, and so full of work that I have not had much time for friendships. But since I have been summoned to here, seen so many good people and such nobility, you have given me hope. I promise you that I will gladly do all for him that I can to make your life together a happy one. I shall stay close by tonight, for I want to think much over what you have told me. And if I may, I hope that you will allow me to take this journal with me and read more.
Of course, Professor.
Tomorrow morning, if you permit, I should like to return and question you both.
Indeed. I cannot thank you enough for taking such a burden off my mind. This has been a difficult time. For both Jonathan and I.
Yes, marriage, love. But then the shadow of this matter. Together we shall seek to solve and root out the problem. Of that I am certain. Now, all well wishes to your husband, and I look forward to meeting you both in the morning. Madame, if I were to ask you and your husband to aid me, would either of you decline?
Professor, if this matter concerns the Count that my husband is so fearful of, and is the cause of poor Lucy's death, then I can speak for both my husband and I, that we shall come when you will.
Take this paper, John. Look at the story there. Now, tell me, what do you think of that?
A number of children have been decoyed away at Hampstead, and small puncture wounds were found on their throats. It's like poor Lucy's.
And what do you make of it?
Simply that there is some cause in common. Whatever it was that injured Lucy has also injured them.
That is true indirectly, but not directly.
How do you mean, Professor? Tell me. I can hazard no opinion. I do not know what to think, and I have no data on which to find a conjecture.
Do you mean to tell me, John, that you have no suspicion as to how Miss Lucy died?
Of nervous prostration following on great loss or waste of blood?
And how the blood lost or waste? You are clever men, John. You reason well and your wit is bold, but you are too prejudiced. You do not let your eyes see nor your ears hear, and that which is outside your daily life is not of account to you. Do you not think that there are things which you cannot understand and yet which are? It is the fault of our science that it wants to explain all, and if it explains not, then it says there is nothing to explain. I suppose you do not believe in corporeal transference, no? Nor in materialization, no? Nor in the astral bodies, nor in the reading of thought, or hypnotism.
Yes, Charcot has proved that well.
John, am I to take it that you simply accept fact and are satisfied to let from premise to conclusion be a blank? Then tell me, for I am student of the brain, how you can accept the hypnotism and reject the thought reading. Let me tell you, my friend, that there are things done today in electrical science which would have been deemed unholy by the very men who discovered electricity. There are always mysteries in life. Do you know all the mystery of life and death? Do you know the altogether of comparative anatomy and can say wherefore the qualities of brutes are in some men and not in others? Can you tell me why in the pampas, aye, and elsewhere, there be bats that come at night and open the veins of cattle and suck dry their veins? How, in some islands of the western seas, there be bats which hang in the trees all day, and then when the sailors sleep on the deck at night because it is hot, flit down on them, and in the morning are found dead men. White as even Miss Lucy was.
Good God, Professor, do you honestly mean to tell me that Lucy was bitten by such a bat? And that such a thing is here in London in the 19th century?
I am telling you to believe.
Believe what, Professor? Tell me the thesis so that I may apply your knowledge as you go on. At present, I am going in my mind from point to point as a madman, not a sane one follows an idea. I feel like a novice, lumbering through a bog in a mist, jumping from one tussock to another, in the mere blind effort to move on without knowing where I am going. So, Professor, to believe what?
To believe in things you cannot. Let me illustrate. I heard once of an American who so defined faith, that faculty which enables us to believe things which we know to be untrue. For one, I followed that man. He meant that we shall have an open mind and not let a little bit of truth check the rush of the big truth. We get the small truth first. Good, we keep him. And we value him. But all the same, we must not let him think himself all the truth in the universe.
Then you want me not to let some previous conviction injure the receptivity of my mind with regard to some strange matter? Do I read your lesson correctly?
You are my favorite pupil still. It is worth to teach you. Now that you are willing to understand, you have taken the first step to understand. You think then that those so small holes in the children's throats were made by the same that made the hole in Miss Lucy?
Yes.
Then you are wrong! Oh, would it was so. But alas, no. It is worse. Far worse.
In God's name, Professor Van Helsing, what do you mean?
They were made by Miss Lucy.
Professor Van Helsing, have you gone mad?
Would I were. Madness was easy to bear compared with a truth like this. Oh, my friend, why do you think I go so far round to tell you such a simple thing? Was it because I hate you and I've hated you all my life? Was it because I wished to give you pain? Was it that I wanted now, so late, revenge for the time when you saved my life and from a fearful death? No, John. It was because I wished to be gentle in the breaking to you. Oh, I know how you have loved that so sweet lady. Even yet, I do not expect you to believe. Tonight, I go to proof. The logic is simple. No madman's logic this time, jumping from task to task in a misty bog. There you come with me.
And then what will happen?
This be the key that opens the doom. I had a copy from the coffin man who gave it to Arthur. We spend the night, you and I, in the crypt where Lucy lies.
Evcol Entertainment presents Bram Stoker's Dracula, Episode 11.
What are you going to do?
To show you what I already know. That this coffin is empty.
Well, I am satisfied that Lucy's body is not here, but that only proves one thing.
And what is that, John?
That it is not there.
That is good logic so far as it goes. But how can you account for it not being there?
Perhaps a body snatcher? Some of the Undertaker's people may have stolen it.
Quickly, someone comes. Or if I be correct and my thinking returns. Now, quickly now, we must hide in the shadows. Look, John. You see, my summation is right. You see her body and walks. Stay back. Be still, foul pestilence. John, hold your ground. Do not let her bite you. My Lord, have mercy on me. John, on my command, you drop to the ground. Now! Are your nerves recovered, John? You believe me now?
Do not press me too hard all at once. However, I am willing to accept.
John, know this. Should we come across more undead, cut off their heads and burn their hearts or drive a stake through it, so that the world may be rid of them. I learned much from both Mr. Harker's journal and that of his courageous wife. Undead, or vampires as they're so often referred to, have the strength of at least 20 men and can change form to battle wolf, if I be correct. Then I know who beat Miss Lucy and is the cause of such great unhappiness, and where to find him.
Who, Professor? And where?
Count Dracula. And if you are brave of heart, I ask you to join me in my quest. But first you have much reading to do. 2 journals and a manuscript. They will answer some of your many questions.
Who is Count Dracula? And what quest? Where are we going?
First to telegram Jonathan and Mina Harker, as I fear they are both in grave danger, and I fear I must do something I hope I will not regret. And then Arthur. No, Lord Godalming now, his father has passed. It is terrible for him to lose 2 so close to him so quickly after each other. And then to Transylvania. Castle Dracula, home of the undead. That will be our battleground.
Battleground? What danger?
Professor, are you in earnest, or is it some monstrous joke? I simply cannot believe what I'm hearing. My poor Lucy, you went into the crypt, and... Well, I'm willing to be patient in all things that are reasonable, but in this desecration of the grave, of one who... and Mina, this journal, what happened to Jonathan? It's all far too fantastical for me to believe.
There is not a false word written.
Arthur, Mina is correct. I was held prisoner there for months. This man, no, not a man, this creature, he's cursed. And it must be destroyed.
Transylvania?
There are mysteries which men can only guess at, which age by age they may solve only in part. Believe me, we are now on the verge of one. Which is why I had to cut off the head of dead Miss Lucy. Please, I wish you would all have some tea. It is a blend I have procured myself, unique and revitalizing. And how you do find it, Madame Mina?
It is indeed an interesting blend, Professor. Not one that I am used to.
Please, then another cup.
And why Mina? Why do you fear for her life?
Jonathan has already informed me, it is indeed in his journal, that Count Dracula had an instant fascination with his then fiancée. He kept a hold of a locket containing her portrait and himself traveled to Whitby, leaving with a ship laden with 50 boxes of earth from his homeland. And as a large dog, but methinks it was a wolf, jumped ashore as the ship ran aground. True, it is coincidence that the man sent to do business with the Count had a fiancée who clearly reminded the Count of someone he lost. But was it?
Meaning?
Well, John, you yourself have been treating the first person sent to do business with the Count. Now, all I ask is that you keep an open mind. All roads lead to this Count Dracula meeting Mina, however coincidental. Do they not? With Mr. Enfield home, driven to insanity, a fresh young replacement needed to be sent to conclude what is undoubtedly a lucrative business arrangement. If someone other than Jonathan Harker was sent, then, John, maybe you would have one other patient now to care for. Mr. Jonathan is held prisoner. Many questions are asked of him by the Count, who immediately probably desired a fresh source of blood, a new feeding ground, so to speak, and selected London many moons ago. But upon seeing the picture in the locket of the lovely Madame Mina, well, it was all too good to be true.
And Lucy?
Forgive what I am about to say. For someone who has lost a love so dear, the words sound cold.
Please, go on.
Food. The Count needed a food supply. And who better than Miss Lucy, whose close friend Madame Mina was visiting. Which is why it benefited him so well. With Miss Lucy in a trance-like state from sleepwalking, it gives him the perfect opportunity to use this to his advantage and only take just enough blood to quench his thirst, so to speak.
Surely you jest, Professor.
A monster he may be, but there's still a man somewhere in his being, and he possibly enjoyed watching, spying on, if you like, Madame Mina, not yet wanting to make his move. It is, after all, the delight of many an animal, whatever they may be, the thrill of the hunt.
So, Professor, you say that he was biding his time?
Only the Count himself knows of his intentions. I'm merely following the breadcrumbs that he is leaving, whether he knows it or not.
And you genuinely believe he will be heading back to his castle?
Yes, because with the ship, the one carrying soil and mold from his homeland, grounded and its contents spilled and spoiled and dampened by seawater, I am sure that he must return home for some reason which I have not yet fathomed, which wasn't his design. Despite his power, his strength, he evidently fears discovery or interference. Without earth from his homeland, he is almost in a state of helplessness. My reading and research leads me to believe that he is confined between dawn and sunset in his wooden box, for his wooden box contains such earth, and thus far he has only been seen at night. Daylight is his enemy, and the only way he can return home is with the aid of the Sigeni, the local gypsies he has some sort of hold over. But he will not leave without his prize. With the Madame Mina, he can set aside his desires of London.
But what of all his books? His talk of coming to London?
Do you know if he was being truthful? Why should you doubt his words when you first met? But now, knowing what you know, do you still believe that is or was his intention?
Professor, I simply don't know what to believe anymore. But what are we to do?
Madame Mina, would you be so kind as to open the window? I'm feeling a little warm.
It is getting stuffy in here. A breath of air will do us all the world of good.
Thank you, Madame. There's always hope, Mr. Jonathan. I have...
Mina!
You knew this would happen. You needed a way to draw him out. Mina was the bait. After all we gave you. You used Mina to draw him out. I should kill you!
Jonathan, I know that you're upset, but surely you can't think that... Professor?
If you gentlemen will remain calm, I will explain. For it is a far greater picture than those gathered in this room. And, Madame Mina...
This is outrageous. You are a monster.
Oh, you blatant vase! I fear that you will call me many things. What I have set in motion, I hope that you will see once your anger subsides, is for the greater good.
I only care for Mina.
Fear not for Madame Mina. She will be safe for a while.
How can you be so sure? That creature could be turning Mina into a vampire as we speak.
Because the tea she drank contains, amongst other herbs, extract of garlic, a particularly potent type. and garlic is one of the number of means to protect oneself from a vampire's bite.
The professor is correct about the garlic. I have been reading of many accounts.
That still does not excuse...
My methods in this case were extreme, but I was indeed at a loss as to how to draw him out, as you say. The thought about using Madame Mina as a means by which to make the Count show himself only came to me recently.
And you did not confer? You took it upon yourself to risk her life? Him now returning to that wretched place? If I didn't need your guidance in this matter, I would thrash you within an inch of your life.
Mr. Jonathan, let us then use this anger, this strife you have, to sail tomorrow night on the evening tide to France. Then, by train from Paris to Budapest and finally horse and carriage to our destination, Transylvania. Passage has already been arranged. I am convinced, without a shadow of a doubt, that be where he is heading, to the Castle Dracula, which I am sure still gives you nightmares. For this is the only way we will save the life of your Madame Mina, aid you in confronting your demons, and for the sake of humankind everywhere, rid the world of the Count, once and for all.
Evcol Entertainment presents Bram Stoker's Dracula, Episode 12.
Mr. Renfield, I came as soon as I heard. Blood. You're beaten. What has happened?
Rats. 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 Hundreds and thousands and millions of them. And everyone alive. And dogs to eat them, and cats too. All lives, all red blood with years of life in it, and not merely buzzing flies. I laughed at him, for I wanted to see what he could do. Then the dogs howled, away beyond the dark trees in his house. He beckoned me to the window. I got up and looked out, and he raised his hands and seemed to call out without using any words. A dark mass spread over the grass, coming on like the shape of a flame of fire. And then he moved the mist to the right and left, and I could see that there were thousands of rats with their eyes blazing red, like his, only smaller. He held up his hand to say, "All these lives will I give you, I and many more, and greater through countless ages, if you will fall down and worship me." And then a red cloud like the colour of blood seemed to close over my eyes. And before I knew what I was doing, I found myself opening the sash and saying to him, "Come in, Lord and Master." I don't care for the pale people. I like them with lots of blood in. So when he came, I was ready for him. I saw the mist stealing in, and I grabbed it tight. I had heard that madmen have unnatural strength, and as I knew I was mad at times anyhow, I resolved to use my power. He felt it too, for he had to come out of the mist to struggle with me. I held tight, and I thought I was going to win, till I saw his eyes. They burned into me, and my strength became like water. He slipped through it, and when I tried to cling to him, he raised me up and flung me down again and again. There was a red cloud before me, and a noise like thunder, and the mist seemed to steal away under the door. His words were hollow. I am no more. I am no more.
Rest, Mr. Renfield. It is time for you to rest in peace, you poor, tortured man. I must with all speed travel to London to journey with my comrades to Castle Dracula this very evening. I will, with every fibre of my being, seek justice for what has been done to you.
We need to hurry. The sun is beginning to set. If what you say is correct, Professor, the darkness will be the Count's only friend.
Borgo Pass. I can see it in the distance.
Are you sure?
I remember crawling this road when I escaped the castle. It's not something a man is likely to forget, Professor.
Hold your nerve, Mr. Jonathan. Hold your nerve. For Madame Mina needs us all. We must remain strong together. We must reach the castle before sunset and burn it to the ground, giving this creature of the night nowhere to seek refuge.
What happens if the Count is caught in the sun's rays?
It is written that his body will crumble to dust and be blown by the wind to all corners of this cursed land.
Can you be sure of that? For all our sakes, I hope you're right.
So do I, my boy. So do I.
Time is not on our side, Professor.
Your lordship, I suggest you use your skills as a horseman to make these beasts hasten in their speed.
He knows we are coming. He's sending his beasts to stop us.
Tell me, all right. The creature has returned home. Faster, your lordship. Faster.
The sun is almost set. We are running out of time.
The castle! Through the gatehouse and into the courtyard.
Professor, we meet at last.
Unhand her, Count. Haven't you caused enough hurt?
And what of the hurt done unto me? Should I not seek vengeance?
None of the people present caused you harm. These people are not to blame for what has happened to you. If it's pity, nay, sympathy that you seek, well, you will not find that amongst those here.
You cannot possibly imagine what I have been through, what I have endured. You, a man of scientific mind, would marvel at the sights I have seen. The world in its ever-changing form. I have battled, fought for what I believe, and the one soul who meant everything to me was taken by an act of cowardice. I saw revenge on the people who did this.
But those days are long gone, Cal. What gives you the right to defy and steal the lives of innocents?
Over 400 years of witness to watch how man never learns. His fall is repeated. I wanted just a moment of peace with the one I loved.
But this woman, she is not the one you loved. True, she is the image of her. But look, Count, look. She is the love of another. And you would take that away from another man. You would pain him the way you have been pained. Where is the resolve and justice in that?
I care not for justice as none has been shown to me. My life has been one of waiting to find my love. Can you not understand that?
I am but a lonely old man. I have failed those I loved. But what I suggest to you is that yours is a life wasted. There are no promises in this life. Choices are made, often by others who affect us. You have no right to do what you have done to others. Even you, if there be indeed an ounce of men left in you, cannot make claim to that.
There is wisdom in your words, but it does not satisfy the heart. Your tincture, Professor, a clever move. The residue has lasted in Mina's body for several moons, but it weakens and begins to leave her helpless. It is provident then that you shall all bear witness to making Mina mine.
No! Mina!
With the sharing of blood, our destiny has come to pass.
She will never be yours.
Jonathan, no! He is too strong for you!
Mina, she was never yours.
Mina! Mina, my love, come back to me. Please, come back.
Professor, the wooden stake. Hand me the stake.
You devil! You killed my Lucy. You will pay dearly for that!
Lucy served her purpose. She gave me life.
Be careful, your lordship. No, do not let him take your blood.
Professor, you've become tiresome. It's time to rid you once and for all.
You may end my life, you monster, but there will be others. You'll not go unchallenged.
Get up, Homeward. Watch your back. He's coming.
He has the strength of a dozen men. How are we to defeat him?
Do not give up, your lordship. We may not get another chance like this for a long time to rid this pestilence once and for all.
Even with your combined strength, you are no match for me.
The stake! Throw me the stake! Die, you abomination!
You got him, Jonathan!
Well done, Mr. Harker. Push the stake right into his heart.
You! How dare you!
Your life has come to an end, Count. Your body turned to dust.
This is not the end for me. Mr. Harker. Our destinies are intertwined forever.
It is over. We shall sleep more soundly now.
Mina. Mina, please. Wake up.
Jonathan. Jonathan, is that you?
Oh, it's a little miss. She awakens.
Is it really over, Professor?
Let us pray that is the case.
Look. See how the mountain snow under the moonlight is stainless, pure white.
Mina, let me hold you in my arms.
Be careful, Jonathan. The Count bit her. You don't know...
Is she going to be all right, Professor?
We should be cautious.
Jonathan, watch out!
Dracula. Written, directed and produced by Simon James Collier. Adapted from the novel by Bram Stoker. Assistant Director, Helen Elliott. Original music and sound design, Zachary Elliott Hatton. Co-producer, Adam Deschanel. Graphic design, Clockwork Digital Studios. Recorded at the Umbrella Room Studios, London. Engineer, Ben Robbins. Cast, Samantha Boffin, Carl Dollamore, Kimberly Ensor, Zachary Elliott Hatton, Kristen L. Hogash, Mitch Howell, Grant Lead, Harriet Claire Main, Georgie Montgomery, J.B. Newman, and Richard Warwick.